Here we are looking at Edexcel Unit 7, Meeting Individual Needs, January 2008. I will be talking around the question and then giving you a model answer. So the first thing you need to do is read the case study and look at the information they have given you. Once you have done that, you then need to look at the verb, actually see what they're asking you to do. And in this case, they want you to define what is meant by the term care management. Define means state. Give a definition really of what it means. When you look on the next slide, you'll see my model answer. On this slide, you'll see what I've said care management is. It's the process of identifying and addressing the needs of the individual. It ensures that the care package is implemented and it promotes individual needs. On this slide, they want you to describe the role of an interpreter. It's only 2 marks. That's another thing to look at. Look at how much it's worth. So in terms of 2 marks, you are just describing the role in 1 sentence. It doesn't want any more. So you are just saying it is to overcome communication difficulties, barriers, and actually ensure that someone's needs are communicated to the service provider. And here you can see the model answer for someone in terms of an interpreter and describing it. Someone who's fluent in both languages of both the service user and the service provider, and that it ensures everybody gets understood. When we're looking at this one, it's 4 marks, but it does want you to explain the purpose of assessment. So you need to go back to the assessment, to the care planning process. And you need to think about the fact that assessment actually takes place under the NHS and Community Care Act of 1990. And it actually focuses on the physical, intellectual, emotional and social needs of the service user, and therefore it should be needs led rather than service led, and you will see that on the exemplar slide next. Here you can see the answer I've given, and hopefully that should explain the purpose of assessment and get you the 4 marks. On this slide, again, we've been asked to explain, but this time we've got to explain the benefits a package of care will have on Mr. Lee's health and well-being. And again, it's worth 4 marks. So really what we're looking for is 2 points that have been identified and explained and accurately linked together. So in this case, what they're looking for is that it allows the individual to live normally and as independently as possible, and it enables him to be empowered and he has personalised care. Here you can see on the answer, hopefully, that I've tried to link them together, and it will enable you to have 2 points that you can see carefully. This slide, you will see that it wants you to explain the meanings of the following 2 terms used in care planning, and it's worth 4 marks each, so 8 marks in total. So they want you to look at normalisation and networking, and they want you to explain why they're used accurately and with understanding as well as explanation. So you will see the answers on the next slide for normalisation and networking. Here you'll see that normalisation is allowing someone to live as normal a life as possible on a day-to-day basis, regardless of any disabilities they have. Networking is part of the assessment process, and it actually allows a range of disciplines, providers, people who can provide appropriate services and care to be identified that will enable the service user to have the best care possible. On this question, it is a 10-mark question. They want you to evaluate the importance of assessing carers' needs as well as service users' needs. So what they want is a good level of discussion. They want you to evaluate the positives as well as the negatives in terms of the carer's needs and how that would impact on the service user. And because it's a 10-mark question and it's an evaluation question, you must have a conclusion. Without a conclusion, you're very unlikely to get the 8 to 10 marks on the question. So in this case, you need to think about the fact that the carer is valued, they feel appreciated, they have a role, they feel supported. It will relieve their pressure. It provides carers with time off to go and do things they want to do. On the flip side of that, on the opposite, if you don't assess the carer's needs as well, then you are putting the service user at risk of harm, and that could be physical, emotional, could be abuse, because the carer is starting to feel stressed, they're feeling isolated, they're not feeling very worthwhile, and therefore that can damage their self-esteem, their self-concept, their self-worth. So you need to link those points and you need to give a balanced argument. Here you'll see, hopefully in this question, that it's got both positive and negative and they're linked together, and I've given a conclusion at the end. You need to make sure that the examiner knows you've got a conclusion, so try where possible to start your sentence with "in conclusion" or "overall," something that will signpost the examiner to know that that's what you're doing. You are pulling your points together.